Welcome back, everyone, to NLC Division 2. It is match day 12. My name is Alexander Arshanomaya. I will be your play by play, and together with me, I have a new face that I'm going to work with, but you guys already know him. It's Rudude. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you. Super excited to be back. Good to be alongside yourself as well. We've got some great games up ahead. More Division 2 action on the way, right?
Yeah, these are really important as well. The standings are going to shift today, so let's see what's going to happen. This is a good time to actually look into the standings as Monster Gaming are still isolated on the top one, Natives behind, but 2 games behind. We can say the same in the middle of the pack. So Flong, Lightside, yeah, there you go. That's the way I should say because I don't know how to pronounce the first one. So Flung, Lightside, Domino, Esports alongside with Lucent. Everyone is fighting for that third place, and then you jump straight up to the seventh place for Raid Gaming alongside with Verdant, London United, and at the end of it, it's AAB Esports. And I know you know how to say this name correctly. Can
You
you
know,
tell
I
me?
think I do. I'm gonna try, and it's closer than AAB, and it's Ube or
Okay.
something along those lines. The Danish pronunciation, as best as I can do it as a naive English speaker from the UK, but that's about as good as it gets. They're hoping to do better than my pronunciation in the rest of their games, though. Sitting at the bottom of the table, we're pretty much at the break point. Trying to get into playoffs from here, it's still possible, but having that 50-50 win ratio is the best case scenario for them. And if they want to get that, they have to find a win today as well.
Yeah, they're not allowed to take any more losses, so they need to step up if they want to still get access to those playoffs. The middle of the pack is fuming. Everybody can take it from the third
Yeah.
place to seventh place, so no one is secured in the middle of the pack. But Monster Gaming are looking solid right now. They're certainly trying to get that first seed in order to go to playoffs. So they're on a good road so far. Let's see if natives are capable of getting to them, even though the only times a native lost was specifically versus Monster Gaming. I think we saw that game in the previous week. I think I was casting that one. It was a massive one. But yeah, there you go. Monster Gaming taking the 10-1 so far. I
They're
know
on
the
a
first
10
game.
game winning streak right now.
So they only lost the first game?
Yeah,
It
they
was versus
lost their
natives,
first
wasn't
game.
it?
It was, yeah. They
Yeah,
lost their first game against natives,
yeah.
and then that's it. They've just won every game since.
That is a good arc, like an anime arc. So you lose one time, okay, I learned from my mistakes. Boom,
Yeah,
10
yeah.
wins in a row. That is a big, big step for Monster Gaming. What do we have today, though? Would you like to look into the schedule?
Let's do
Look at
it. Up at the top there, Lundqvist Lightside versus Munster Rugby Gaming. So, Lightside, they've got a difficult challenge to begin if they want to stay at that 6-5 record, keep themselves in the good spot for third place. They're going to have to go and either break that 10-game winning streak or have to bounce back again next week. But obviously, we know which one they're going to prefer, right? Take a win here. That's obviously the goal.
natives on the other side, though, can't take this one versus Domino, putting themselves a little bit closer to the first spot, or at least secure the second seed. They're with a good score as well. And since we're looking into match 12, it's getting easier for them to secure that second seed unless someone is going to be on their back, on their shadow. Following it up, it's going to be London versus Raid. It's also going to be a good one. Then we have a special game. This is one that I
Hmm.
would like to focus. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the future. But it's going to be Verdant versus Lucent. They have some sort of challenge to a charity where every single kill objective, even the victory, these teams will plant a tree to help the environment. It's going to be a lovely one. I have the rules. Yeah, the rules is one kill equal one tree, one adult equals two trees, one drake equals three trees, and one baron equals five trees. Whoever takes the game will have to plant 10 trees. So I'm expecting this to be a bloodbath. I want as
Hmm.
many kills as
Hmm.
we can get, so we can get a lot of trees. But obviously, these teams are looking for points. So I'm looking for bloodbath, but I'm also looking for the secure game as well.
Yeah, obviously there's two different sides to the standings for those, right? Lucent in that mix for third place, and Verdant still trying to find themselves closing in on those playoff positions. So obviously they're both going to be playing for the win, but it's all for a good cause. Kills going anywhere regardless. It's going to be a good time.
Also, for everyone back at home, we don't have Renata available today. I know you guys want to see it in Pro Play. It's going to be available next week, especially on Division 1 and Division 2. We have some sort of surprise for you guys back at Division 1 with Goldberg. The Eimerborg will deliver a lot of knowledge, so be aware of that if you want to learn more about Renata for Division 1. But we don't have Renata on this week. I don't know if you enjoy Renata as a champion or you're an AD carry, right? So I don't know what
Yeah.
your thought process is behind the Renata, but
Renata tends to be banned in my games when I'm playing bot lane because I ban it. Any new champion
okay.
gets just a 2-week ban from me, immediately taken off the table. Fortunately, neither of these two teams are going to have to ban it. But I had a incident just recently where I actually played a different lane instead of AD carry, and then got fully Renated by one-shotting the enemy ADC, but they got to live and immediately kill me, and then I didn't like the game for that for the remainder.
Can you imagine Renata and Akshan? That's something that I'm actually quite
Oh
afraid.
no,
Jumping
they're
into the
just
champion
reviving each
select,
other.
we have Thresh, Viego, Zeri as well, being kicked off, and Jinx. So one of the great ones. The Aphelios is still available. The B1 Aphelios may be a thing if they don't remove it from the champion select.
A lot of AD carry focus already, and you're quite right that the Aphelios priority does certainly skyrocket in this game. And Gwen, obviously a champion that has been left untouched in the ban phase as well so far. There we go. That's going to be the final takeaway. So your priority on the Aphelios certainly does go through the roof if you're trying to take one of those hyper-scaling ADCs. Loads of jungle picks still available as well, and my eyes go toward that support position now. When you've got Lightside taking this Aphelios early on, your things like Nautilus certainly increase in priority. But Munster Rugby Gaming, they're going to opt into a Senna bot lane here. Whether it's going to be fasting or feasting still remains to be seen, but the Nautilus is typically something that you want to use into Aphelios to just get some knock up, some form of CC onto that hyper carry.
That's something that I was thinking about. Okay, do you pick the jungle now and then you go for the Tom Kench alongside with the Senna due to the fact that Thresh is banned, so there's not a lot of champions that can save Aphelios. He's a little bit immobile, so that combo could be a good one on the bot side. Senna alongside with the Tom Kench. Are you allowing Lightside to maybe steal the Tom Kench? Obviously, the Xin Zhao is the other jungler that is really powerful in terms of win rate. He's just skyrocketing, so obviously you take that one versus the Ekram. There's no Trundle on the other side, so you feel comfortable. Now, do you pick the support and you allow Munster Gaming to take the Tom Kench eventually, or even the Nautilus as you were talking about? Oh, well, how do you prepare yourself?
I really like Tom Kench here for Lightside. If they wanted to take that, I think that Aphelios already is going to hate playing this game because he's going to be up against a Hecarim at base and what is likely going to be a lot more dive from Munster. So they're going to pick up, there we go, the Leona instead, and the Tom Kench, quite rightly, taken away by Baloo down in the bot lane. And I think that this is a really good start for Munster because they've got themselves a really stable bot lane, which won't need too much jungle priority. Merbs and Baloo have been very consistent down in the bot side, have been destroying pretty much anybody that dares to go up against them. And they've got this ganking jungler, Hecarim, which can make plays in the early stages, but equally, with how free this bot lane can play on their own, it opens up Munster's top side to be very aggressive, and they can use the Hecarim to win out on the top side, whilst this Senna TK can be so safe in the bot side.
So where's going to be the pressure? Do you want to allow the jungler to go to the bot side and play the weak side? For Munster Gaming, they have the last pick. They can even secure the mid lane advantage for the counter pick or the top lane counter pick. They remove the action, which means I'm getting
Ah.
exactly. That's something that I was thinking about throughout the champion select, and I was kind of confused. But well, I allowed it to go through. Senna and Tom Kench are not allowed to play together. You can play one of them, but you're not allowed to pair them up. I thought it was already fixed, but apparently it is still not fixed. So they have to redo the champion select, and I'll have to see what happens on the bot side. Probably it's not going to be Senna with Tom Kench if they get this sort of information.
And this may change up the bans as well then now, because
Yeah.
they let through the Aphelios because they were expecting to be able to take the Senna Tom Kench as an answer. But maybe we see Jinx left open and now we just trade hyper carries in the bot lane. It is going to add a different layer to the next draft that comes through, which is certainly quite exciting. We get a redo take two here of the first match, the first draft. But I think that Hecarim into Xin Zhao just as an answer, it's good to see two different junglers, two different styles, and whether that happens once again. We have got a bit of a bugged overlay right now. They're going through a different champion select, so you have to bear with us whilst we try and sort out this. They are currently presently going through everything else once again.
It seems like it's going to be the same picks that we were talking about, but rotation 3 on stage, which means red side, it's going to be different. It's not going to be Tom Kench being picked for Chimera right now. On the other side, Fatty P taking away the Leona.
Oh, there we go.
I don't know if Shogath will be the pair on the bot side, but it certainly does the same thing as Tom Kench. The eating part is a little bit different. You're not allowed to eat your AD carry and save him, but you have the knockup, you have the silence, and you have a lot of damage on the R.
Exactly. It removes a little bit of the safety, but it does increase the kill threat of this bot lane quite significantly. One rupture lands, and all of a sudden, it's going to be very difficult for Sadie to find a safe spot in the bot lane. So we'll have to see how the alteration of this bot lane comes through. Could also still just be a Cho'Gath blinded into the top lane, and they're going to save a spicy R5 counter pick for the bot lane specifically. As we head into then the second round of bans, obviously going to be a lot of solo lane priority. We know that Lightside haven't taken either of their solo lanes just yet, so expect to see focus on that mid lane from Munster.
Teddy B is the one being removed so far. The Rise, probably we can look into other control champions. Maybe Syndra could be one of them. Victor as well. Chimera is a menace in the mid lane, so obviously you want to remove him, but it's going to be the Cassiopeia being taken away. Renekton is one of those power picks into the early game, the early stage. And if you save the pick for the mid lane because you have the Shogath, I think the Shogath will go to the support, as we're going to talk about. You leave the top side. Do you play the weak side? Because if you reveal this is going to be an R, you allow the enemy team to take the counter to the top.
There's still the likes of an Aurelia, a Yasuo as well, if you want to go really old school with your counter pick. But Lightside still yet to take any magic damage, so things that would obviously be benefiting, things like a control mage potentially that can go into the mid lane. They are going to have to blind pick something, so Orianna does stand out as one of those safe blind picks. Silas as well. It's a really good counter pick in the top lane, so wouldn't be surprised to see Svenny taking that one up there. But double AP solo lanes is exactly what this neat composition would have needed to round it out. I really like Silas top lane. I'd be super down for them to take that up there and have a different mid laner as well.
I think this is the Silas for the mid lane because they have access to the Hecarim. It's one of the best ultimates that you can steal away. Then you look into the Gnar, where you can be the Gnar with no issues of rage. You're always angry, like you're the Hulk, you can steal it away. Oh, this is a massive engage from Lightside. On the other side, though, now you know what you're playing against. You can play something for the Silas. I don't see a lot of safe picks for the mid lane. This would be interesting to say the least, but this is massive team fight for both teams so far.
Yeah, I mean, there's a load of engage coming through on the light side. I really like the Anivia just as an answer to Silas as well, because you steal away the ulti. You can only steal it away once, and then once you've used it, it's just gone. So that's going to be a good counter pick in terms of the ulti aspect. I think that you touched beautifully on quite how many ultimates Silas has got to steal this game. The fact that he can't steal the Anivia ulti too easily, not too much of a consequence to him. He probably doesn't care about the Anivia ulti all that much, and Silas as a counter pick to Cho'Gath as well is actually a pretty niche one, because you can constantly refresh, take that feast stack, and you yourself gain a lot of bonus HP. Those stacks don't go away once the ulti's been faded off, so Fatty P is going to have a lot of opportunity to get that health, and I think that for Lightside, Fatty P has been a really focal point of their composition, that throughout Div 2 he's been looking to make those plays and be a fairly standout carry for this squad, so giving him the tools to do so on the Silas, a pretty good start for Lightside at least.
100% agree with all that statement. Not only Silas is already tanky by himself, but then getting access to the Shogath and then getting access to the Hecarim and Gnar, where you have to expose yourself into the middle of the team fight, and now you're tankier because of that. And it scales a lot with HP and the AP as well. So we're about to see a Silas numbing probably the Senna, because now you don't have the Tom Kench to protect the Senna. She's a little bit more frail when you jump into fights. So Silas has a perfect game ahead of him, and he's one of those one to watch, let's call it this way, as soon as we jump into the Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, and I think that this game specifically, to talk a little bit more about that Anivia, because it is a fairly niche pick as well, that it's going to have a fairly difficult time navigating actual team fights. Typically, you take Anivia into fairly immobile compositions, and your wall can be a really big pick tool, but we look across the Lightside squad, they've got a lot of mobility to get themselves out from within that wall. For example, Silas has a dash over it. There's a fair few escapes elsewise as well, but that B1 of Philios could be feeling the pain if we get to see those two particularly interact. Have to get a little bit of a wait and see on that one, but you can see the 4 or 5 members at least both supports have already gone back, at least to get themselves those sweepers, but a standard 5-point to start us off. Nothing too exciting.
Welcome back, but I want to say something that I was not expecting. There you go, Balu starting up with the Sapphire, so going
Yeah.
straight up for mana. I understand the idea. Obviously, it's a fasting Senna, but you're really squishy versus Leona.
Yeah.
I fail you. This is not something that I'm going like. I
It's
cannot
very
defend
greedy.
this. Yeah.
Now, this is, like I say, very greedy, maybe a bit of an ego check as well, because you have no combat stats going into this lane. The reason that you are incredibly squishy is you have no extra HP, you don't have any form of damage either coming out, no laning stats, other than the ability to throw out maybe one or two more ruptures. So that's the leading reason, I suppose, is they're going to be trying to poke out. But if they feel confident that they can take this bot lane, it is going to accelerate him to that first item, likely going to be the AP Mythic or Everfrost or something of the like. And you can already see quite how aggressive you can be with this bot lane, because unlike a Tahm Kench, you have a lot better ranged skills at that level 1 marker for Merbs and Baloo to really punish this Aphelios.
One of the good things, you have the TP, so you can go back as soon as you have any sort of gold and become a little bit more tankier. But this could be certainly an opportunity. But level 2 is going to be delivered for Monster Gaming. They're doing a pretty good job in terms of managing the wave experience. Said he wants to get a level 2, but he's poking at the same time. And Balu is just sustaining himself with the passive. Getting the access to level 2 is a massive, massive deal for them, which denies the engage from Lightside at this point. Meanwhile, throughout the rest of the map, both junglers are approaching the bot side, so we'll probably see a 3v3 fight on the bot.
And not to be surprised by that either. Obviously, the Anivia in the early game, fairly quiet. Same can be said for the Malphite on the top side. So neither of the two junglers maybe want to path toward that. And with the volatility, I'll call it, of a Sapphire Crystal, you really want to be making sure that your bot lane is protected. You can see Merbs and Baloo pushing in this bot wave, and they need to have Gaboish there ready to shadow it just in case there is a gank angle for Zvictor on this Xin Zhao, who loves to get those early skirmishes going, and he may well look to do it in the mid lane here. Chimera pushed up, no ward.
No wards. Let's see in terms of cooldowns. He has the flash available. Hecarim is a little bit far away. The egg is on the floor. They're trying to look for breakfast. I think they're going to get it. There we go. Fried eggs. First blood for Lightside. Turn attention to the bot side as they get a second kill. And Shady still looking for more. Meanwhile, Gabush was doing the scuttle. He might go bot side. Sadie has no summoner spells available, so no heal. No flash, gets the stun touch, he wants to get away, gets the set of play, it's more than enough to allow him to go back, so 2-0 in favor of Lightside.
And Lightside showing up on both lanes on the bot side. They have to get out, and they may well miss this wave. Gabosh looking for the dive.
He tanks up the turret, Gabush in jeopardy now. Goes down instantly, it's a trade 1-for-1, and eventually Merbs will get access to the second one as he get additional souls. But look at Fatty PTP, the double kill appears. Yes, it's true, but it's going to be replied instantly with a double kill of Fatty P.
Very good start for Lightside here, putting a bit of a statement out in the early game that despite Munster's 10-game winning streak, they're not going to let them roll over in the early stages. 4 kills over for Lightside in that bot lane, outside of the extra kill for the mid lane gank as well. 2 kills on your Silas, 2 kills on your Aphelios. I don't know about you, Arsharon, but in terms of kill distribution, that's exactly where I want mine.
Exactly, yeah, you want those kills there. Obviously, the Silas with 2 kills, already getting access to those boots. And look at this, rotation instantly being answered by Lightside. We know he's taking the farm on the bot side, so get the mid lane pushed in so no minion is wasted. Fatty P still getting access to a lot of those minions, finally able to go back and allowing the bot lane to rotate back into the bot side. Both of them have boots, tier 2 right now. On the other side, it's only a Lundqvist. Lost chapter as well. Balu still really squishy. Yes, sustain from minions, but in terms of bursts, I believe Lightside have the advantage.
And they may find more.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about. He's squishy, all right, so they're going to take advantage out of the Shogath pick, and so far it's not working as they intended.
And no TP this time to get back to the bot lane. 3 deaths already for Baloo being punished for taking this greedy opening. And this is a good open for Lightside. Looking forward throughout the rest of the game, they're very happy that they've got these kills onto Fatty P, onto Zvictor and Sadie. getting all of the carries in those good spots to carry these late game team fights, which is where both of these teams may well be looking. Now they're trying to contest this Drake.
They're going to try and they're going to do it. There you go in the bot side, though. Finally, we get access to another fight. This is a bloody game, as we were talking about. Fatty P coming in with the onslaught of Shadow. Nothing happens, but the real horse comes with his own onslaught of Shadow, and it's working right now. That's a beautiful wall. Where are you going? I don't think Touch is going to get away with this one, as he's going to charge. Gabu's trying to get a kill, double one. Oh, this is a bloody, bloody mess, but Munster coming back into this game.
And Lightside just reaching too far. They get too greedy for all the objectives. That dragon was a bit too far out of reach, and a really good collapse from Munster. They respect that they can take these fights and that they're able to take themselves several kills down in the bot side of the Rift. 3 kills over to Gabushin. 5 out of 6 kill participation. He's been on the map exactly where he needs to be.
Uses the ultimate, Malphite, goes against the Nar, transforming himself, the rage is kicking in. Oh, doesn't touch anybody, but the flash will give him safety for the time being. 6-6, they burned the ultimate, they burned the flash, so this is something.
And something that I want to point out quickly is, despite all of this action, and despite all the ganks that Victor has been looking to put out, he's fallen significantly further behind in farm, in levels, than his counterpart. Currently sat a good full clear behind this Hecarim, and as a jungler that is going to be scaling very well into the late game, Gabush, with those 5 kills out of 6 for the squad already, he's going to be very happy with where he's been played as well. The early game may have looked a little bit rough, but that Drake really just salvaged everything that had gone wrong in the bot side.
6-6. 48 minions though. Balu is able to farm even with all the pressure that Lightside are throwing at his face. Another lockdown. Gets the turret from the Aphelios. He has a lot of range alongside with the Crescendum. That's more than enough. It's not the Crescendum. It is the red weapon. Oh, I know. Initialize will flame me because I didn't say the correct name. Oh, there you go.
So I've always called it shotgun Q because you always want to be close range with it. I've always called it the shotgun just because you know that or the chakram, you can always make an excuse for wanting to be short range with it. And I think that red weapon, you know, it seems to fit. Danger, shotguns, I like that connotation.
I was trying to fix something, so that is why my attention was a little bit broken, as I was trying to get more volume on my side, but I want to focus on the game, so enough with that. Getting the tier as well for Sven. He knows that he's not in direct jeopardy right now, so maybe he wants to play for the late game. He thinks that Stumpy won't be able to solo him with the Gnar so far, at least until he gets the Hull Breaker, so this is going to buy him some time until he gets access to that item that is going to put him on the more tanky side. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, what can we expect from the Anivia, even though she's falling a little bit behind in terms of kills, but in terms of farm, she's doing really well. What can we expect from this champion on this composition?
Hoping to see Chimera be a late game menace. Really, you can just team fight so well. Skirmish as well. You can see that disengage of the wall. When there are no dashes available, you can see the power that this generation of terrain provides you. So a really big window here to give Chimera a bit of chance in the late game team fight. So I want to see if there's, you know, even more to be said from him just yet. Obviously had a fairly quiet early game, but honestly, quiet early games for Anivia are what you dream of.
So far, it is a quiet one for him. The team cannot say the same thing, as the Herald is going to be made. He's fleeing all right. The smite is not available. And Mirps takes the life of Fatty P. They take another one. It is a complete mess in favor of Munster, with the objective as well, and no one to defend the plates if they decide to put him on the floor.
Well, there we go. 3 kills immediately on the top side, rotating all 5 members over. Munster Rugby Gaming, they overload, but they get the benefit for it. They're going to get themselves that Herald. They get 3 kills, and on the bot side, what's the response for Sadie? Maybe a single plate that had already been taken, but now they're overextended, and the 1v1 between Baloo and Sadie, who's going to win?
Oh, he gets knocked up, rooted down with the Everfrost, slowed down as well. Sustain comes in from the mid lane, another knock up.
Ooh.
The Nom Nom is not enough. Sadie comes in with the heel clutch, and he has the weapons to fight it off. He has access to Severum, by the way. I just reminded myself of that. So, alongside with the Inferno, and now switching it over to the Crescendum. I'm back in action, baby.
Oh, we're ready. The Severum ulti is actually very huge for Sadie. Makes the Cho'Gath ult not have lethal damage, and also the Senna ulti just going wide. That Dawning Shadow didn't quite have the damage portion given over to Sadie. but the shield was definitely given, and it means that both of these carries from the bot lane are able to walk away to safety, and Blue will be able to return back to farming despite having taken a fair chunk. Cho'Gath passive is incredibly nice to allow yourself to resustain in that bot lane, but you can already tell Munster Rugby Gaming in a very good position now for the remainder of this game. Their composition scales incredibly well. The Hecarim, the Anya, and the Senna all going to scale very nicely into those later stages, and you can argue outscaling their counterparts. The infinite scaling of a Senna, certainly something to keep track of.
I agree with that. Yeah. That is a massive equation for Munster at this point, even though the early game was not what they expected. They still got the first dragon. They're taking the second one. It's an X tech, so one of the best champions if you want to get those early stats. While Stumpy also getting the lead on the lane so far in terms of farm, you can see that Sven is falling behind. So it was a bloody early game, but Lightside are not capable of transitioning that lead versus this monster team. And the Kraken Slayer is already available, so Sin is gonna hit hard. And additional 2 people on the bot side as the Analyst drops. I don't see them going anywhere except with a free recall, a grey recall as well. Who's going to take all these plates? I think they're going to share it between AD carry and support. I don't know which is who. There we go. They shared it.
It's worth remembering that just having 2 carries down on this bot side means that gold is good on literally every single member of Munster Rugby Gaming in this game round. So often you'll see, okay, you don't want to give kills over to Baloo just because he's playing support. This time he's got a full AP Cho'Gath locked and loaded, so keeping the gold influx on the Cho'Gath is going to be very nice as well. You can see just there at the bottom the gold values across pretty much every lane in favour of Munster Rugby Gaming, and that is honestly one of the worst situations for a game state. If you are Lightside here, you're looking for an avenue to play through, but every single lane is behind, and the only way to try and claw yourself back into this one is making a overload play where you put more people on one side of the map and you just outnumber them in an area. And even at that stage, dependent on the members, you could still query who's going to have more gold in an instance, even if it is 4v5.
If you have any sort of doubt in terms of gold leads, that's the reason why we're looking at 13 minutes and we're standing at almost 6,000 gold lead in favor of Munster, even though they were not the ones starting up with the kill. So this is a good way to show this team is capable of coming back into the game, regardless of what team composition they have. Even though Lightside is a strong team, one of those teams that are fighting to get access to the third, fourth, fifth place because everybody's tied up in the middle of the standings. But it's really hard to face them off because they're comfortable on coming back into the game. So Leflare being dropped on top of Gabush. He's running away. The horse is just completely crazy, and the blast cone saves the enemy. Onslaught of Shadows is not available yet. It's going to be the flash. The egg is on the ground. Will they be able to get the second time? Balu trying to root the enemy. It's not going to be resurrected, the Anivia. It is a shutdown. Yes, it is. But at what price is Balu is just going to consume the enemy for the double kill at this point? And Munster Gaming running away again with another lead as Stumping is going to push the bot side.
A perfect example of what I was just talking about here, Asheron. It depends on which members are around. Munster still have the numbers advantage 4v5. That was a fight that Lightside needed to win if they had any chances of trying to make a statement in this game. Now the game just got infinitely harder because they lost on all sides of the map. They made a play with a numbers advantage in the top lane. It failed, and they lose out in the bot lane. Stumpy didn't have to participate in the fight to get 2 kills worth of gold. And despite the fact that Chimera falls here, loses his egg, that's the only consequence, that's the only price that Munster have to pay for several kills going over and a lot of a lead now in their favour.
This is one of those specific things when you're fighting versus interesting team. Let's call it this way. You have an Anivia. You're not used to fight versus Anivia. You are not used to fight versus a Cho'Gath, especially as a support carry. I don't know how you want to call it that. But all those little abilities that you have to take into account when you're fighting on a choke point versus an Anivia, it's really scary. And the Xin Zhao, this Victor went in. Okay, I might be able to kill the Anivia at least. And well, you got an egg. So those little things are make do or die for these sort of games. And so far, the Lightside are not capable of adapting themselves versus Munster, when on the other side, Munster were capable of adapting to the enemy team. So another lead for this Munster team that we know they will probably make playoffs. Let's see at what sort of position. Good cleanse alongside with the flash away from the solar flare. Teleport is being called. It is the Knot alongside with the Shogath. The Mega Knot is available. Knocks him against the wall and brings him to the ground for another one. 7-16 as Shinzao has no other choice aside from fighting. Fatty P comes in to try and clean the day and rescue the day. He gets the kill. Meanwhile, he's going to flash a whale. Sven is there with the unstoppable force if he wants to join in. But the entire team is left to shamble on the ground, so they need to let this one go. T2 is going to go down as well, as Munster Gaming are looking for another objective, another lead, another victory.
Yeah, overall a positive play for Munster Rugby Gaming. It wasn't the cleanest, it certainly wasn't their best look, but they still come out on top. The power of this composition really stemming from, hey, the Lightside, they take down the AD carry and the mid laner, and 9 times out of 10, you think that's a recipe for success, but unfortunately, you look at the rest of the Munster squad and they're all still carries. Beluga, Boosh and Stumpy can all pump out meaningful damage, and Sadie's going to be finding that one out the hard way. They are now looking to try and contest this dragon. It's already been started up by Munster, but can the carries get there to stop it?
It's soul point, so they have to do something. Another Mega Knot used. Oh, beautiful ultimate from Merps. Locking down everybody. The Anivia ultimate is burning the HP as they're going down slowly but steady. Steady trying to get at least one. It's not enough. They not only take the soul point, but they can also go for the Baron. And who knows what they might take as well.
The Baron is not available, Arsharon.
Oh, that's the Herald. Okay, I'm watching through Discord, so it's not the same.
You'd be forgiven.
2 kills in 70 minutes.
I was going to say, you'd be forgiven for thinking they can take the Baron here, but this game is going so well for them. They're only 17 minutes in. They're going to get themselves second Herald. That'll be great, and they'll certainly enjoy having the extra pushing power, taking down some turrets. But an ace already for them. The team fight is going so well. You get to see, I don't even want to call it foreshadowing at this point because it's happened to Sadie about 3 or 4 times already this game. But the positioning of an Aphelios in this one is so difficult. Now we're re-engaged for touch, but he's going to get maybe caught out himself.
He didn't get the reset, so the items are still not bought after the previous fight. And they're still taking more fights and taking more lives. This
simply doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah. What can you do on the light side? Is there any window that you can open in order to get some sort of fresh air?
Well, it talks about the overloading, the outnumbering, right? And I think we got to see a pretty good glimpse of it earlier, where even if you outnumber them, the gold on those members certainly may not be enough to, or may still be enough to take a fight in a disadvantaged position. I think that for this game now, it's Munster Rugby Gaming's game to lose as opposed to Lightside's game to win, because from here, they have to capitalize on mistakes from Munster, and I don't think that Munster are in the habit of making them. They've got these 10 consecutive wins for a reason. They were very good at punishing what Lightside misstepped on in the early stages. Remember that about 5-6 minutes in, the kill score was 6-2. But then there was one dragon where Lightside overextended, and Munster, they recognized this, they forced down on it, and they've just never looked back, given over 3 kills in total in the time that it's taken them to get 21. You can tell that the tempo of this game is just so far in favor of Munster, and this top tier 1 turret, Svene, unfortunately, is the least of your worries.
It is. He's going to go down. The Unstoppable Force has been used. He has the Seismic Toss to get some sort of movement speed, but the Rock is only that fast. Meanwhile, on the bot side, they were trying to take at least 1 turret, some sort of bounty for themselves, as you can look into the top side, and that's 13,000 gold before 20 minutes. This is a show being presented to us by Munster Rugby Gaming at this point. As Stumpy's just going to jump around, no problem, doing the shoogie with his Gnar. He has access to the split push item. The Hull Breaker is in full effect, so you cannot even go 3v1. Let's see if this is enough to actually take down Stumpy as he jumps away. And Nivea joins the fray. And the wall is put up alongside with the Blizzard. Touch, not getting slowed. The Nom Nom is available. He wants to consume someone. There you go, another kill for him. As Fatty P is now left to shamble. No one to help him on this bot side. The shutdown appears, but look at the pace as they're going to take the first Nexus turret in 20 minutes.
Onslaught of Shadows does go wide, and it means that Sadie lives to fight for one more day, but the inhibitor going down on the top lane here. Munster Rugby Gaming, they answer in the bot side as well, utilizing Chimera's TP and Baloo being in the right place. What they thought could have been a 3v1 for Lightside immediately gets evened up and taken back by Munster. They tried to make a cross-map play. That tier 1 turret in the bot lane still stands. And unfortunately, it's continuing to go from bad to worse here. Now with an inhibitor down in the top lane, that's a load of pressure for the next 5 minutes. The timing of a Mountain Soul spawning as well. Lightside had been struggling to get kills throughout this game, and a Mountain Soul is not going to make that any easier.
If we can look into the gold difference in terms of champions, if possible, what jumps into my eye is the bot side. Not only in terms of AD carries, Senna versus Aphelios, you see an advantage of an item. The Ginzo has been made up and is already looking for the third one, while Aphelios is still trying to get himself the second one. But it's also about the supports. We're looking at twice as much in terms of gold. This is to be expected when you have a Senna fasting, obviously, but not this much. And you know, when Shogath runs with the lead, there's not much you can do. And now, yes, there we go, the Baron. And you have the Smite alongside with the Shogath, so there's no way you're going to steal this.
Victor, he can try, and I think that you have to at this point, but Stumpy is just going to one-shot.
It's a 3v1, and it's going to be Baloo taking the ultimate with the Baron. Meanwhile, the fight happens again, and there's not much to be said. It is going to be Munster taking another fight. Meanwhile, Fatty P running away, Seri as well. Everybody's just leaving the battle. They want to slow them down. Or they has to flash the Pulverize. They're not letting this one go. They want to at least stall a little bit while the minions are pushing in from the top side.
Exactly. At Munster, they get the Baron. It's a 2-for-2 overall, and in normal cases, you would take that as Lightside in this position. They make that Chimera good stasis.
I don't know if you would allow that to happen because you still have the egg as Merb is going to take another one. Fatty P popping up the status effect, and it's not enough. Double kill comes in clean for Merbs. Triple kill make it that. With 32 kills at 22 minutes only, I believe Munster Gaming are looking to finish this one.
Yeah, that top inhibitor now going to be able to reap even more rewards. Merbs is going to chew through Svene on the top side of the Nexus turret. It's the second player to fall as well. And Munster Rugby Gaming, they waste no time. Game number 1 in their pocket.
Nexus is going down. Another victory. We thought it was going to happen. The winning streak would be over after the first half of the game, but out of nowhere, Munster Rugby Gaming were capable of taking yet another one. 11 wins in a row. This is a massive display of strength by this team.
It's terrifying. You're looking at this from any other team, and you think, what do we do? Lightside there, they made one mistake, and all of a sudden the game fell over. Lightside were just able to, find that early lead, but then Munster Rugby Gaming, they find the one slight weakness in your composition, the slight weakness in how you've played out the early stages. They force the mistake, they force the issue, and all of a sudden the game is out of your control. A really good snowball from Munster Rugby Gaming as well. You have to say they're the top team for a reason. There's a reason they've now got 11 consecutive wins, but their ability to close out a game and force an issue is absolutely incredible.
It's one of those games where you see you have the items, you have everything that you need. And as soon as you get those points, okay, I have the advantage. I have at least the lead in terms of gold. And all those champions have access to massive CC. You have the Pulverize, you have the Silence as well, the Everfrost, you have the Root from the Senna, you have the Stun from the Anivia. So all those little CCs piling on top of each other, if you chain them correctly, we're talking about at least 10 seconds of CC. While
and then cooldowns come back up.
Yeah, so it's a rotation that you cannot go anywhere, even with tenacity.
And you could just tell that the whole composition that was allegedly going to revolve around a Senna Tom Kench, but the Senna Cho'Gath, it worked just fine. I think that they did get highlighted a few of the weaknesses, though. We have to, credit Lightside's early game at the very least that they did punish that Cho'Gath. The Sapphire Crystal start was taken advantage of, but ultimately it wasn't enough for the win.
I think we have a little break before we jump into the interviews. We're going to talk with the players, so don't skip a beat. We'll be right back.